Huge game this weekend, Tottenham against Liverpool. It's time for our weekly update with Nubaid, where we find out how Liverpool are getting on. This is a game where Tottenham, who are due a win, they haven't beaten Liverpool since 2017. They come up against the Liverpool side that I think we did a video a couple of weeks ago, and I started with a bit of Morse code of like 4-4-2-2, like what is the formation, what is the future? What is the formation? What is the future for Liverpool here?
Nothing has changed since then. I think...
Do you feel more confused or less confused?
I don't even know where I'm at the moment. When you watch Liverpool play in the past, you knew what was happening. Now I watch Liverpool play and I'm like, the goals they scored against Napoli were both from corners. Like, you can't identify with them. You don't go like, oh, we did this to make this happen and this is how we scored.
There's little to take from them because they were both kind of parries, weren't they? And then
the City game, you looked at the identity and you went, they probably can't repeat that again. Then you played Forest, and you go, what has happened there? Like, the midfield can't run. Then you play Leeds and you're going, oh, we've actually done all right for 20, 30 minutes. We've got a bit of rhythm. We're playing, wing backs are wide, wingers are tucking inside. Midfielders are actually popping the ball around. 25 minutes, they've done it perfectly. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, like my legs are hurting. And every player, like every single player. And then it all goes to pot. So I'm left scratching my head because I'm going, I don't know if Liverpool are going to turn up against Tottenham and go, we're going to win this one. Because then I'm like, what's the fixture after? Because they're going to lose that one.
Do you just want to get to the World Cup now? Is that how you feel?
I think so, yeah.
You just want to get over with.
The more I watch Liverpool, the more I feel like the theory of people saying that players are either saving themselves for the World Cup, the inconsistencies of how Liverpool are playing, and I don't know this for sure, and I'm not speculating at all, but if there was a theory and it pointed to a team, it probably points to this one, because they turn up against City, play high-octane football, pressing in every area, make it difficult for City. Then against Forest and Leeds, the level drops so much. Against Napoli, the game was a dud game, and you escape with 3 points, and you go, oh man, like the form is in. But none of it means anything. That's where I'm at the moment, where I'm going, it means nothing.
Do you think that the pain kind of comes from the success and the sort of watermark that you'd created? Because if you don't win every single game, then it's not going well. Like, are you just reverting back to not the mean but the truth of how good this squad is and how good these players are?
Maybe to an extent, but I think like expectation is one thing, because obviously we're going, Liverpool should be top or second or third. They're on 16 points. They are 8 points behind fourth, and you're going, yeah, that's quite a long way back. Like, expectation aside, that's like this team's just not playing very well.
Yeah.
Because if they were, say, sixth, 4 or 5 points behind Newcastle, people would still be saying they're having a bad season. But I'd be saying, no, I think this is just a difficult season, and after the World Cup, things could change. At the moment, I'm looking at it, I'm going, this is a really bad moment, a bad season. But it's more, like, I would personally rather, as a football fan, watch my team lose 5 and then start winning than go win 1, lose 1. Because that means something is definitely wrong somewhere.
So what are you seeing with and we'll come back to you, but what are you seeing with Liverpool this year, like in terms of, obviously we know that they've got good players, but what are the problems, do you think?
Do you know what I think it is? And this is my theory, and it may sound really stupid, especially with a Liverpool fan sitting next to me, but how many points did we finish on last season?
94?
Something like,
well, 90 something. 21 in the whole season.
90 something, is a title winning points,
92.
So, and they normally say unless you're Man City, when a team wins the league, the season after they struggle. So technically, even though I know you didn't win the league, when you've played that well for a whole season in both the league and the Champions League, and you've put your all into it, and then the next season comes around and you're just like,
I think there is a hangover. I agree. I think tactically there are problems.
Yeah, of course.
And I think there's problems with some of the personnel and trying to fit them all in. I think Salah's looking a bit isolated there. Darwin Núñez is chaos. I've got a lot of heat for it this week. I know that. But the observation for me was that you had a player who would come in and would do well in the Champions League in the knockout stage. He will score a winner in the knockout stage of the Champions League when you got two teams going at each other and there's that space in behind, and he'll take something because he works hard.
Yeah.
But against teams where you have to be way too good to break them down, which is what happened. This is the thing. Football's not like it was 20 years ago, or like the Championship is, where it's just two teams just clatter into each other and both have a go and we see who wins. It's not like that. You have these low blocks that you've got to get past. And last year, and it wasn't even last year, was it? It's
Season
5
before,
years
yes.
of okay, well, Mane stays really wide but makes those like diagonal runs. Salah stays really wide but then gets the ball and has that little bit more space to do what he wants to do. Now you're playing these different formations. You're playing Salah and Darwin Núñez up front together. They're not playing as a pair. Football's based around that, and it's tricky for them. Like I guess I think they do need to just get to the World Cup, and I think again through win, lose or draw, I actually think we're at a point with Liverpool where it's the performances that matter now between now and the World Cup. And again, he went to a diamond midfield in the Leeds game. Prior to that, there was the box, wasn't there? Yeah. It's changing so much. And yes, this is the caveat to all this. It is incessant being a fan or a player or a manager of a team in the top 6 of the Premier League, because it's every Tuesday, every single Sunday, and you've got to win every single one. But I think the big problem here is so easy to get chances against them, and that first goal as well. There's such a concoction of problems here. So maybe going back to that root source, which might not be what you want, it might just kind of get you to the World Cup with a couple of points.
I think Klopp has tried everything, and interestingly enough for me, it's always a case of, I think last season you could see that the identity was tilting. So Liverpool were basically this gung-ho team when Klopp first came in. Let's play basketball, football, back and forth, back and forth. Then in the second or third season, he started bringing in characters like Gini Wijnaldum to demand control, and Liverpool became boring, but they'd win games. Yeah. And Wijnaldum would be the player you'd go, he can get us out of a sticky situation, and he's also the guy who's going to get the defence out of a sticky situation. Wijnaldum goes, Henderson becomes this right-sided attacking 8, if you like, and Thiago and Naby Keita fill in the other side. And then you go, okay, now it's changed again. But now we come to this season and you're going, okay, if Thiago's not fit, there's no balance on one side. We've also now lost Mane, who's been the practice, like everything.
And the width. The width is so narrow now. It's so narrow.
And you're sort of, I think like, it's not the case of Mane was this wonderful footballer and losing Mane has dropped everything. But football's all about relationships. Robertson's not been great this season because he's built a bond with Mane. So Tsimikas has to come in. Firmino and Salah are feeling an impact of Mane, because Mane would feed Salah so many times in a game because he knew he was like the understudy to him. Darwin doesn't do that. Darwin wants to do his own thing. Then you've got the midfield who are constantly changing, and Harvey is a good footballer, but he's 19, 20 years old.
And it's never been about your midfield either, that's the thing.
Our midfield is actually just a bit, and this is the thing, like, this is the bit that's changing the most, but that's the bit that always stayed the same, because we didn't need to go, we need goals and assists. Just work really hard. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but they were dogged midfielders. But now we're going, can someone get us an assist from midfield? Can someone play a killer ball from midfield? The midfield is not that midfield. Yeah. So I think it's just a case of this has happened, that's happened. It's a concoction of loads of things. And I think Klopp's going, I need a 4-week break.
You bet you're right.
It's really difficult to watch because, like you just said, it's about the performances, and every performance is completely different. On the flip side, we've got to talk about Spurs. Sure. Because I think Spurs are in a very similar situation.
So frustrating, man.
Yeah, they squeeze past Marseille, they squeeze past Bournemouth. Conte's going, I'm patting my chest, we're still going good. But there are definitely concerns there where you watch Spurs and you don't really know what's happening. Yeah,
but somehow they still keep getting results, which is the most annoying part.
Which blows my mind. That Marseille game was outrageous. They were lucky. Like the stats in the Bournemouth game, they were lucky in that second half. It shouldn't have been that way. They should have been able to deal with Bournemouth better. And actually, the service to Harry Kane at the moment, he's had 4 shots in the last 3 games. Full stop. That's not good. The one thing I would say with Spurs is the players that are out are integral.
Yeah, and now Son as well.
Richarlison, Romero out as well, Son as well, like you say. That's huge. And so, because I was all ready to go, they can't play like this. But then I sort of scrolled down and you look at the subs bench. There's not a lot from an attacking point of view. So. Sorry, go on.
So this is why it's concerning to me. Why I get it, they don't have that pedigree or the history that other clubs do, but it's concerning that no one's actually talking about them and how much of a threat they can be for the league, and in possibly Champions League, because without their key players, they're still pulling out results. A lot of teams could not do that. We're seeing it with Liverpool at the moment, and other teams are not missing that many key players, but like no one's talking about, and I know this is paining me to say this, how well they're doing.
Yeah, and if it gets, because the thing is, we're talking about the football right now. All that matters is what happens in May, but you've got to get to March and be kind of somewhere knocking about. And that's the thing with Spurs. It's so funny. You're talking about the style and how poor it is. Still third in the league.
Yeah.
But the thing here is they're third in the league, but any time they've come up against anyone half decent, they've lost. They lost to United.
They've only had 2 losses, I think.
They lost to Newcastle. That's 2 already.
Oh, and us.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they lost to you. That's 3.
Oh, yeah, it's 3.
The game where they really flourished was Leicester, but Leicester rolled over for them. They struggled against West Ham as well. Anytime they come up against a team that has some element of organisation and knows what they're doing, they struggled. Brighton, they struggled against as well. So I think there is a feeling there that Conte is chancing his arm. He's going, can we get it to Kane? Can we get it to Son? Can someone up there do something for us? Because back here, we don't really know what we're doing.
Well, yeah, and back here, honestly, you look at their average positions, it's a ball.
Yeah.
They're just going, go on, cross it in, because the one thing we can do is head the ball out. And that's not going to work against Liverpool. You know, coming to the game itself, the midfield battle is going to be huge. And I think because of that lack of quality going forward, really, I think Tottenham have to play a 3-5-2. I think they will probably defend deep. The difference is between the first half and the second half of that Marseille game is they were 1-0 down, and because they had to make the change with Son, Moura went and played up with Kane, and you had Basuma, Bentancur and Højbjerg. Those 3 in midfield, with the right energy from everyone else, where they have that little bit of gusto about them, that can hurt a team like Liverpool, especially with their struggles in midfield, and also a team that's playing quite narrow in Liverpool at this moment in time. But I don't trust Conte, even at home, to press Liverpool, even though it's worked for Leeds.
I think historically Spurs in these fixtures, especially under Conte and against City, will park the bus and rely on Son, and they don't have Son.
Yeah.
And so immediately you go, so who's going to be the out ball? Because the ball goes to Kane. That's the natural progression. And then he goes, where's Son? Where's that man running beyond? Or they get the ball into the fullbacks and they go, I'm hitting a diag, and they get on to Son. He's not going to be fit, I don't think. He's got a problem in his eye, a fracture in his eye.
Yeah, he's having surgery.
Yeah,
so that means he's definitely not playing against Liverpool. And I think Trent, those guys on that side of the defence are going, thank God for that. Because with no Richarlison as well, they haven't got the legs to get in behind. And then they're relying on Kane, which, as you just said, he's become quite frustrating to watch, actually. Because I think he's going, they're not giving me the ball, I'm going to come get it. Yeah. But then he can't get back in the box, and you kind of go...
If Conte's smart, I think will naturally happen. He'll probably play like Højbjerg as an 8 or something. Højbjerg that's probably getting up there to help with Kane.
Yeah, he's been doing well, scoring goals.
To do that.
So let's get a prediction on this one, because every little part of me says this is horrible to watch. And it says that I feel like Mane's going to pop up from somewhere and score some goals against them. But I still think if Liverpool will come with the right attitude, I don't trust Spurs to do that. And that's why, and I think just because I critiqued him earlier in the week, I think Darwin Núñez scores some goals in this game. And maybe from a cross, because I think they might let those crosses come in. You've got Trent and Robertson to do that. And the Marseille game, I think there was like 17 clearances in the first half. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went with that blueprint. And I could see Darwin Núñez actually getting a goal or 2 in this game, because he does have that size about him. I think Liverpool might nick this one.
You reckon? I don't think I've ever backed Spurs to win a game, but I think this could be their chance.
History made. Here we go.
But I'm hoping that Liverpool beat them 2-1.
I'm going to go 1-1. I think it will be a horrible game to watch. It's not a Super Sunday at all. It's a sluggish Sunday. Don't get your popcorn. Sit and watch this with Weetabix. This is going to be a horrible game.
Enjoy it, guys. Enjoy it. Let us know what you think. What's your score prediction? Let us know in the comments down below.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.